What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got a big update about OP-11. We are getting to that point where we know a lot of stuff. We know the manga rare, we know the special rares, we know a whole bunch of stuff, so we should probably have a good old chat about it. And if we know the manga rare, it's probably only fair that we start off with the manga rare. It's Manga Luffy. Which actually does make sense, because if you look at the manga panels behind Manga Luffy here, it is basically all the Charlotte Katakuri fight. And of course, we know the OP-11, the booster pack, is Luffy against Charlotte Katakuri. And one of the themes of OP-11 is Whole Cake Island, where of course, you know, the big climactic fight was Luffy against Katakuri. So this does actually all make sense. If you look at the theme of the set, having this as the manga rare does make perfect sense. But we've just had Manga Luffy in EB02. Like, literally the last set, EB02, has Manga Luffy in. So I'm not entirely sure we needed a new Manga Luffy. And let's not pretend like, oh, well, you know, you had that one, but it was a little while before that. No, it wasn't a little while before that, because we had a Manga Luffy in OP-09, 2 sets earlier. We have had 3 Manga Luffy, I believe, in the past 4 sets now. OP-09, OP-10, OP-11, and EB02, 3 of those 4 sets had a Manga Luffy. And look, I'm not saying this as a complaint, because let's be honest here, it's Luffy. Luffy is very much the main part of One Piece. Main character, protagonist, all of this. So, yeah, and don't forget we did also have a Manga Luffy back in OP-05, so this is now Manga Luffy number 4. And no, it's not escaped my attention or a lot of other people's that we had 1 Manga Luffy in year 1, and then we quickly had 3 in the last 4 sets. But you know what? It's Luffy. We're going to get more Manga Luffy, and honestly, like, is there anyone out there who's going to pull a Manga Luffy, either from OP-05, OP-09, OP-11, or EB02? Is anyone going to pull one of these Manga Luffy and go, oh, I really wish it was another character? No! There's a reason that Manga Luffy is always the most expensive manga. There's a reason why most children's favourite character in One Piece is Luffy. There's a reason why Luffy's getting all the manga rares. We can be upset about it if we really want to. I say, you know what? It's Manga Luffy. Let's enjoy it. For what it's worth, it is, of course, the alternate art of the OP-11. Luffy, the one from Fist of Godspeed, the secret rare and all of that. And that's a pretty decent card. It's the one whereby, first, we've obviously got Rush. And then we got a skill whereby you may trash a card from your hand, and when attacking, of course. And then you can return a character of a cost of 4 or less to the owner's hand. And then after that, you give arrested Dawn to your leader or one of your characters. Not a bad little card indeed. But yeah, that's a manga rare, and I don't think anyone's really complaining. But in addition to this, we do have all of the special rares that have gone and been revealed. And this is a good thing because we like them. And it's weird. These are absolutely beautiful. They've got a new style going on here. But I don't think they've picked any of the ridiculously popular characters. I'm not saying none of these are popular. I'm saying we've not got a Nami or a Charlotte Pudding or anything like that. We do, however, have a Shirahoshi. And Shirahoshi is cool. We all like Shirahoshi. This is the one that came around in EB01. And like every Shirahoshi we've ever seen, it's got no power. Like, Shirahoshi gets no power. That's just the way Shirahoshi works. You can be upset about this if you really want to, but it's not going to change anything. Wimpy Hoshi don't got no power. Do remember there was an alternate art of that Shirahoshi in EB01 as well. Now you got a bunch of choices. But it's a blocker that if it's KO'd by an effect, you get to get a life from the top of your deck. So your opponent can't really KO it with a blocker because they have to give you an extra life to do so. So it's a blocker that they've got to let block. It's clearly a really very good card. Now, we do also have a Luffy coming in here, but instead of just regular Luffy, we've actually got ourselves Luffy-Taro. That is the one from Starter Deck 18, and I love when we get to see some of these from the starter decks, because they don't have alternate arts, they're starter deck cards. So bringing it in from the starter deck with alternate art is awesome. This is the on-play Don -1. Play a purple Straw Hat Crew with a cost of 5 or less from your hand. Another good card with a huge amount of potential. Lovely to see it getting an alternate art here. Now, probably my favourite of them, we've got ourselves a Stussy here. But of course, I'm literally getting to the end of the Enies Lobby arc of the manga right now, so I'm not entirely unbiased right now. I'm kind of loving CP9, CP0 characters because you know what? They're pretty cool. But we got the one here that came around in OP-07, which actually feels like a long time ago. Really wasn't that long ago, but either way, we got a new version of that. And of course, we did get an alternate art of that in OP-07 as well. And this is the one whereby 9 cost 9k, but on play, trash one of your characters to KO one of your opponents. So you get to trash a small character you don't really need anymore to get rid of one of your opponent's big, impressive characters. They definitely do. I cannot be the only one that thinks that's a fair trade. For you. Now we have Shanks, and this is another one that came around in those new starter decks. This is the green Shanks from the green Uta starter deck, and obviously another one that didn't get an alternate art because it's a starter deck card. And this is another very cool one. 9 cost 11k, and on play, just KO arrested character. No ifs, no buts, no maybes, no mucking about. Play this, KO arrested character, job's a good un. Another one we like very much indeed. Now we got ourselves a Sanji from OP-06. And I know Sanji is popular, Sanji's cool, but I stand by my previous comment that Sanji is not popular to the level of, well, the other ones I mentioned. And we did get an alternate art of this over in OP-06. This is a really nice one whereby on play, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a character with a cost of 9 or less other than Sanji, just play it. Yeah, it's ridiculously good. Still not been broken wide open yet like I was expecting, but I do expect that to happen at some point in the not too distant future. And then the last one we've got here is Silver's Rally. This is, of course, the one from OP-09, and this is a very good version of this card. Because, firstly, we got ourselves a blocker, and, you know, who doesn't love a bit of the old blocking? But secondly, we got a skill here whereby on play, if your opponent's got 2 or more characters with a base power of 5,000 or more, that is power before it's been altered by someone else, draw 2, trash 1. Blocker that draws. Very, very nice. Didn't get an alternate art back in OP-09, so nice to have an alternate art version here. So that's your manga rare. That's all of your special rares. Actually, have a quick look at the Don here. Love, 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 love this Don. This Don is absolutely brilliant. This is, well, if you've read the manga, you're going to look at this and be like, oh, it's that bit. It's quite a seminal part of the manga, which makes me very happy indeed. The text says something along the lines of, I believe. And it is just a great part of the manga. Love having that coming around in the Don. So that is going to be your Don for OP-11. But there's one more thing we need to talk about. Because back in OP-10, we got ourselves this event card. It was only the one. And there was a question initially as to, well, hang on a second, is this a manga rare event card? No. It's an alternate art event card. But it's got manga artwork. And it looks extremely cool, but it's not a manga rare. It doesn't have the pull rates of a manga rare. It's just a new style of alternate art event, and it's beautiful. So there was a pretty fair question being asked of, well, hang on a second. Is this a new standard thing that we're going to get in every set? Are we going to get some of these in every set moving forward? Or was this just a one-off cool thing in OP-10? Well, we have our answer. Because we've got 3 more of them now. We had one as a little bit of a test back in OP-10. Well, now we've got ourselves 3 more in OP-11. And basically what this means is it's here to stay. Now, I can't actually tell you for absolute certain that we're going to be getting these in every set now and all of that, because we don't know this, all right? We don't know this for certain. However, I think it is fair to say it is overwhelmingly likely that we are going to be getting these moving forward. And I think this is absolutely fantastic because these are clearly ridiculously cool cards. Nice. So the weirdest one for me is Gear 2. I don't think we've talked about Gear 2 yet, but it's a 1-cost purple event, and as a main, rest 2 of your Don, and if your leader is blue, then you get to add a Don card from your Don deck rested, and as a counter, you give your leader, and it has to be your leader, a 3k bump for this battle. What's weird, however, is go back to the manga rare from EBO2. How weird is that? And it comes around very simply because the manga in EBO2 was Gear 2 Luffy. So you had to have the iconic Gear 2 Luffy pose and the manga panels and all of that. But then we end up with this event card, which is, the Gear 2 event card, which means they have to use the iconic Gear 2 pose, but they've done it in the manga style, and then they end up looking like the same card. It's weird, right? I cannot be the only one that thinks this is bizarre. And I understand exactly how it's happened. I've just explained to you exactly how it happened, but it's weird. And they're not the same card, right? I put them side by side. You can see that they're not the same card, but essentially it is that panel blown up as a manga style card, and it looks very, very similar, and it's weird to me, and I had to get that off my chest, and now I have. Elsewhere in the event cards, we've got Gum Gum Red Hawk, a 1-cost yellow event, and what we've got here is activate main, or as a main, you may rest 3 of your Dom, and then if the total of both players' life is 5 or less, KO an opponent's character with an original cost of 5 or less. You cannot reduce their cost down to KO here. It has to be an original cost. And then we do have a trigger, which just gives your leader a 3k bump for the battle. Brilliant artwork here. Love it. Who doesn't love these manga event cards? And they don't have the same ridiculous pull rates that they have, for the actual manga rares. So I can't be the only one that's going to be collecting these. This just seems like an absolute no-brainer. Oh, but there is one more I probably should show you as well, shouldn't I? For completeness sake. We've also got ourselves Honest Impact, the one I showed you the other day, the 6-cost red event that gives one of your opponent's characters minus 4k for the turn. Then you KO a character with 6k or less, so you could lower a 10k down to 6k and KO it. And then as a trigger, you just KO a 6k or less. And again, we've got absolutely absurd manga artwork here, which is just absolutely phenomenal. These cards are brilliant. And of course, then there is a question of, well, what's the value going to be like on these cards? Well, again, if we go back to OP-10, it's out over in Japan. That one's 6,000 yen. Which puts it at the high end of alternate arts. So it is priced like a very high-end alternate art. But just an alternate art character. So they're not hugely expensive. They're not going to be hundreds of pounds. Over in Japan, it's like $30, bit more. So yeah, they're not going to be ridiculous. I'm going to be collecting them because they're phenomenal. So there we go. I promised you a big update for OP-11, and I showed you the manga rare, all the special rares, the return of these manga-style event cards, which seem like they're really here to stay now, and even the Dawn as well, which wasn't a big deal, but, some people like to see it. So there we go. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this in the comment section. How hyped are you for OP-11? Go nuts! But be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.